Right, so this is a suggestion via Patreon. The name of the video is The Male Loneliness Epidemic. This is coming from the channel Shoe on Head. Let's check it out. Guys, that is an odd name for a channel.
I regret to inform you, the men are not okay. That's right, folks, the men are not okay. The men have no friends, no girlfriend, no college education, no money, are breaking their legs and inserting metal rods into their bones to be a few inches taller.
What happened? You can get taller? Wait, hold on. I want to be 6 feet.
And listening to AI Batman help them overcome their pornography addictions.
You deserve real love.
Turns out the society that was built by and allegedly for men has indeed let them down. Now you might be thinking, oh look, another boo-hoo poor men video by Shoe on Head. Yes. And if you have a problem with that, tune into literally anything else.
Guys, I absolutely laughed exclusively at the name of the channel. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I'm never going to forget this, so I guess that's the point then. Congratulations.
Men are in a crisis, and it seems nobody really cares. And the people who do care just seem like the people who want to sell them shit. It's not me. I'm different. So before we get into this, let's quickly get into today's sponsor.
I don't want to start drama, but there's absolutely a channel that is dedicated to talking about men's issues, right? While this woman, right, proceeds to sell illicit images of herself on her Patreon, right? Yeah, you know what the problem is, but yet you're trying to sell them things.
Sir.
Come on. Hopes and dreams.
Today's sponsor is Holtzkern. Holtzkern is a young Austrian, and thank you, the viewer, as always, for not skipping the ad.
Why are men and boys struggling? And what should we do about it?
A few new studies have come out that have shown that young men are more lonely and single than ever before. But it's not just men. The women and children, too. It's predicted 45% of women will be single and childless by 2030. But according to the media, this is a good thing. The she-economy is booming, as they say. And meanwhile, men being single is treated like this.
New study explains why some single men are having a hard time finding a new partner.
Some of the music that they listen to speaks very derogatory.
Right. Yeah, men, stop listening to that derogatory music. Then maybe you won't be single. I don't know, I think men and women being single and lonely kind of shows there might be something wrong with society. Perhaps we should address this.
Absolutely.
Not just
Western society, just very specifically. I mean, I get it. It's starting to bleed over into like other societies, but that's not going to work over there. Like the response is going to be absolutely detrimental to the people that are attempting to live within this Western way of doing things in these foreign nations. So it's not going to ever be as crazy as it is over here, where men are somewhat neutered. Unfortunately.
Wave it off as empowering or pathetic. According to several different articles, I love how that's my source. I read about it on the internet. Research shows that people from
Was that Pharaoh Monch?
Several different articles. I love how that's my source. I read about it on the internet. Research shows that people from individualist countries show a greater sense of loneliness. This is linked to socioeconomic development, increased education, a shift towards white-collar jobs, and urbanization. Japan also has an issue with loneliness. In fact, they have a whole movement of people they call the hikikomori. Did I say that right?
Probably.
I don't care. Basically, postmodern hermits. Mostly young men who completely withdraw from society, secluding themselves in their rooms for months and years at a time. In 2010, there was an estimated 700,000 hikikomori in Japan. And today, it's estimated to be about 1.55 million. And because of things like this, people aren't having babies, so Japan's population has been in a sharp decline since 2011. It's gotten so bad that Japan even produces videos of live-action women staring into the camera to help the hikikomori learn to cope with eye contact and reintegrate them back into society. So basically, if you want to know America's future, look no further than Japan. A lot of people, including myself, blame this partially on the rise of social media and technology.
Absolutely.
RIP to the king. Although technology makes things easier, it can also make us more atomized. Why go to the mall when I can just tap, 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 buy a new microphone, and have it shipped to me in a day? Why hang out with friends when I can get all my social interaction I need from Twitter and streamers? Why go on dates and bother meeting women when I could just tap, 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 Google big boob and get 2 million results? Or see my high school crush's holes on OnlyFans for only $5. Instant dopamine, instant satisfaction, and hey, who even needs a real woman when you can have an AI girlfriend? We're so dating apps really are the great Satan, and I'm convinced they've completely broken men's brains. Women on dating apps are picky. Women in general are picky, and I mean...
They're a lot worse on dating apps, though. Trust me. Like, you have, like... Bro, I'm not even trying to be rude here, but you have, like, solid 3s, right? Passing up, like, I would say solid 6 men because they think that they're internally... after all the makeup, that they're solid 8s, guys. That's what they're doing, bro. And they're passing up all of these guys, ignoring them. For what reason? Social media, right? Because social media tells, unfortunately, a lot of the people. I listen to my daughter speak also, and I'm just like, yeah, we're not doing that around here, bro. Like, we're not going to have, you're not going to do these things that you're seeing on social media. Unfortunately, these things are not real. The majority of the people you see flashing these things that's probably rented. These are all, social media is fake, for the most part, guys. Stop trying to get that random guy over there. He's not going to bother with you. Let's just be real. He's not going to marry you. And unfortunately, a lot of the women, they tend to go to these dating apps, and they're looking for a diamond in the rough, like Build-A-Bear type of man. But these men generally don't exist. You're not going to get these super polar opposite traits in this one singular man that'll marry you, because the man who you want is wanted by a lot of other women, and I mean a lot. You're not special, right?
Naturally, we are pickier. You know, we're the ones who carry the babies, at least for now. But on dating apps, you have to admit, it's a little insane. It's safe to say that the commodification of love and the window shopping of dating apps probably has to do a lot with the rise of lonely single men. Men are not just lonely when it comes to dating, they're lonely when it comes to friendship too. According to Vox, Americans are currently in a friendship recession, and men are being hit the hardest. The percentage of men who reported having at least 6 close friendships fell in half since the 90s. 1 in 5 men say they have no close friendships. Looking at all these statistics, the explosion...
Like, generally, the only people who I really know, just give you my anecdotal evidence here, guys, I don't see anyone on a regular basis except my wife. And that's just real. I see my neighbor, but I don't talk to him, right? Generally, even though I think we're similar in age, I think so at least. But I don't talk to him. Guys, right? I don't know, bro. On a daily basis, like absolutely daily, there's no one that I'd be like, hey, let's come over and hang out. Yeah. All right.
Explosion of figures like Andrew Tate is not
I'm sure a lot of people
I believe
say the
being
same
a man
thing.
is a blessing because it starts so difficult. I believe that every man is born without any value at all. I think that the world's never going to think you're important unless you make yourself important.
And recently, a new study came out about how young men are moving towards the right. And every other month, we, the liberal, sockdem, leftist, whatever you want to call the space online, performs the same song and dance. What's wrong with men? Why is this happening? Why don't we have a leftist Andrew Tate? We need to push men to the left. Andrew Tate...
It's not going to happen, unfortunately. Like, let's just be honest here. Let's just be completely honest here. A lot of women are moving absolutely super left, right? Super left. And like a lot of guys are absolutely just wherever they were before, they're moving to the right. Because a lot of men are seeing what's happening and they're just like, I don't want that, right? And so a lot of these guys are becoming super insular, obviously. And then some of them, right, are even getting passports and leaving, right? Because they're like, look at these women, bro. Look at that. I'm not marrying any of this. We're not doing that. You can, listen, I want you to do all the things in life that you want to strive for. Please do that, right? But me and as a guy and my sons, I would never suggest to do that. to yourself. Yeah, my wife is from Spain. Yeah, traditional, absolutely traditional woman, bro. Completely. There's not even like a secondary traditional.
Rarely, if ever, talks about politics. Andrew Tate talks about men, and the left only talks about men when they talk about Andrew Tate. A few months ago, during one of the monthly song and dances, some progressive people I follow made the mistake of addressing men's issues, and the even bigger mistake of pointing their finger at their own spaces for not doing enough to address said men's issues.
Recently, there were some statistics by healthcare company Cigna indicating that men are the loneliest generation. And addressing it doesn't mean that you turn your back on issues pertaining to women, but it does mean that we should be focused on what it is in society that is leading to this epidemic, what the left can do to offer solutions, and how we can basically fight back against the more nefarious figures who have filled the void that, you know, men are struggling with, people like Jordan Peterson and what have you. Now, recently, Vosh, who's a popular streamer, had tweeted this thread that I think is really, really important to address. He writes, "I cannot stress enough how important it is to understand that 12-year-old white boys on Twitch are not being pulled into fascism because of some Machiavellian desire to preserve and expand their privileges. It's because the right talks to them and the left doesn't."
The responses to these tweets and this content were very normal, level-headed, and respectful. Me when I lie. LMAO, cry about it. Boo f***ing who? Oh no, poor widow men having problems. Boo f***ing who? Grow the f*** up then. Have men considered being smarter? I'm enjoying all these sad little moids and their sad little tweets about their sad, pathetic lives. Sounds like a personal problem. Is the lack of compassion for men in the room with us right now? Maybe men are just not good people then. I'm so f***ing tired of people trying to make male loneliness a huge societal problem.
We make things that are literally 1% of the population, like situations that are extreme, like that are literally 1% of the population, the largest thing on the planet. We do. I don't know where all these very specific talking points are coming from, but yeah, guys. I mean, things are changing, unfortunately, right? We're a small, literal, tiny minority of people, a group of people in the United States of America are, for some reason, the largest issue in the United States of America, while half of the population is men.
Yeah, no, their fifis are not my responsibility, and I shouldn't have to be punished because they can't get their shit together as human beings. Grow the f*** up. Why are we trying to win these entitled little predators over? The left isn't for them. That's why they go right in the first place. We're all lonely and alienated. It's young men going to the alt-right in droves. The problem isn't our messaging, it's them.
Yeah, bro, stop. Don't donate any type of your baby making juice, bro. Not because they're gonna need it. Invest in cat food, do all these things. Absolutely. They're going to need it pretty much drastically. Let them go. Let them melt away, guys. That's basically where I'm at right there in that instance. Listening to this is disgusting, but it's just like, bro, they are going to, at some time in their life, need most likely a man to come and do something for them. Just not trying to be, but that it just is what it is, because a lot of the industries that are there to maintain things are filled with men. To hear this stuff is just it's disturbing.
It's literally not our problem. Men flock to Andrew Tate not because they're lonely, but because they're bigots. Hope this helps. Nah, it's just misogynists being louder than before and not getting laid. LOL. Cry harder, losers. 90% of all
That guy who just said that, bro, the women are not going to want you more for saying that. So I'm just gonna. It's not gonna make your numbers go up, bro.
Than before, not getting laid. LOL. Cry harder, losers. 90% of all homicides recorded worldwide were committed by male perpetrators. We should just get rid of all males, to be honest. This includes trans women, as they still retain male violence. By the way, you know the Tumblr feminists who were like, all men are sexist and f***ist, male tears, penises are evil, blah 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 back in the day? Well, this is them now. Should've just let me cook back then. Listen up, chuckle. I'm white, socially awkward, autistic, in my 40s, ugly, overweight, crippled, got a weird balding pattern, and have bad skin. You know what I didn't do? Choose to become a fascist, because I recognize most of the sort that look like me are the problem. I may be hideously ugly and pathetic, but at least I'm not a fascist. Thank you for your input, buddy. You're, really helping the situation. The reason young men flock to alt-right MRA movements is because the left gives brain-dead advice to young men. We need to be more compassionate to them, for our own sake. I'm sorry, but how is respect women brain-dead advice? What advice? Don't be a racist.
Bro, stop saying that word, bro. I mean, you can't be new here. Are you new here? Bro.
Bad advice? Help, I have no friends or community. I feel have you considered not act like a decent human being? It's not hard. Is brain dead advice? Brain dead advice like get consent and don't be a Nazi and women are people. Walking up to men struggling with loneliness and depression like
kids, don't be racist.
Incredible. Here's my actual advice I would give to my teen boys as a leftist. 1. Always get enthusiastic consent. 2. Save the planet. 3. Don't say that. It's actually kind of racist. Like, what the f is this? How does this address men and their issues? It doesn't. Why does their advice always seem to be, become a liberal? Hey men, here's how to fix all your problems. Agree with me politically.
That's what it sounds like.
Men flock to the MRA movement because they're the largest beneficiaries of MRA shit.
Firstly, what is an MRA?
Imagine saying women flock to women's rights activism because they're the biggest beneficiaries of women's rights. Like, no f***ing shit. Let's be honest. Aside from procreation purposes, men have become obsolete. Most women can find other methods of achieving orgasm without a man there. And speaking as a man, most of us are horrid to be around, and I don't blame any woman.
Stop donating your baby making juice, guys. Stop right now.
For just saying, no thanks. Oh my god, dude, this is what every Just Pearly Things tweet looks like to me. Just with the genders swapped. This is pathetic. You know what fixes male loneliness? Basically. Off. As a man, I'll say this. Sit down, shut up, and beat one out. You'll feel better. I promise. Yeah, guys, just beat one out. Just off. Just watch porn. Batman would be very
Oh, you censor those words, but not the other ones? That's crazy.
Disappointed in all of you. It's so funny how men feel entitled to a girlfriend. No, you sexist freak. When one side is like wanting.
Okay, you shouldn't. I mean, listen, I don't like entitlements in the first place, so I'm not too crazy. I mean, listen, I don't feel bad about that very specific statement. You are absolutely not entitled to another human being. I'm sorry, that's just a fact.
A girlfriend is sexist entitlement, and the other side is like, here's how to get a girlfriend. I don't know, bro. What happened to males just kicking the bucket? Now they just come on here and try to make their loneliness and misery into some social justice issue. Oh, trust me, men are still kicking the bucket. And when they're not giving mind-blowing advice like just to be a liberal, they're outright dismissing men's issues completely. It's not our job to educate them. Since men created the problem, they need to take steps to fix it. We have other things to care about. Men can figure out their own problems that they created. Again, it's not women's jobs to change how men are socialized. It's a man issue and y'all need to address that amongst yourselves. Men created their own problems. Men can solve their own problems. The left is busy. Why does the well-being of other people concern me? Leftist, by the way. It's
I know. I hear it. I hear it. Let's go.
Busy. Why does the well-being of other people concern me? Leftist, by the way. It's all systemic issues and societal factors and blah 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 until it's a man and then suddenly it's pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. This problem is just a
that sounds familiar.
Consequence of the patriarchy. Now take a wild guess about which gender created the patriarchy. Solve your own problems and leave women alone. These people rightly mock the bootstraps rhetoric until the subject is a man and then it's bootstraps all the way down. They would never talk about any other group this way. They wouldn't. Wild. And it's kind of like both sides are telling men to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but one is like, I'll show you how, and the other is like, fuck off. And when they're not telling men to straight up fuck off, they're giving the 200 IQ answer that nobody has ever heard before. Just show your emotions, bro. And I'm not dismissing this problem, okay? I've made videos talking about this. Oh, you're crying at your grandfather's funeral? Okay, it. And studies have shown that men are scared to be vulnerable, even around the homies. And can you blame them when the media says stupid like this? Fellas, is it woke to open up to your fellow men and discuss history? Men are socialized to believe strength, dominance, and stoicism are behaviors of a real man. Is it any surprise that men are lonely and have less friends nowadays? You have to be vulnerable to make friends. Don't tell me there aren't systemic problems affecting men. Now, while a lot of this may be true, men have been socialized this way for centuries, and this is all relatively a new phenomenon. Right. Toxic masculinity has existed forever. If anything, there's less toxic masculinity nowadays. The cultural embrace of, like, gender nonconformity, femboys, Harry Styles in a dress, Barbie movie, blah 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 blah. My point is, toxic masculinity did not just appear in the mid-2010s, but social media did.
Bro, what did you just... Never mind.
And the internet did, and the rise of dating apps did.
It's like this has to be like some Gen Z lingo or something, bro.
And the housing crisis, and living in a country where the wealth inequality is worse than it was during the Gilded Age. That all happened recently. Oh my god, the privileged life these poor little boys must have, that their biggest problem is being lonely, i.e. so insufferable that nobody wants to sleep with them. So much more pressing than the poor distribution of wealth causing people to suffer food and housing insecurity. Boo-hoo, you're lonely and have no friends and are so wah.
Bro.
Because feeling alienated under capitalism apparently isn't a thing. People are working harder and longer while wages have been stagnant. Men have been dropping out of college like flies. And what does that get you? Poor men. Which, since women are doing amazing in college now, and many are now out-earning men, this most of the time leads to single men, which then leads to lonely men, which leads to depressed men, which leads to the high rate. In my opinion, leftism at a policy level does a great job addressing the shitty material conditions that in part lead to the problems that men are facing, but then absolutely drops the ball when it comes to everything and anything related to men's cultural issues. Many such cases. And why would a struggling man even want to move left when the left appears actively hostile to them?
The question of whether or not the hashtag online left does enough to appeal to hashtag men has become the question du jour. And like, men have most of the money, authority, and do most of the murdering and assaulting.
The average young man in America isn't Jeff Bezos. Also, why did this motherfucker just FBI crime statistics at me? Men do the most murder.
People like doing that for some reason. Like when they can't come up with anything else, or anything, but I get it. You know, listen, let's just throw stats out there for anything and everything.
Okay.
They like having all of the stuff they don't deserve. They like that. They want it to stay that way because it suits them. Because of the stuff, telling people they're special and deserve all the nice shit that they have, that's going to be an easier sell 10 times out of 10 than like saying, hey, maybe you should have less stuff and other people should have more.
Leftism is when you don't have a lot of stuff. We're gonna take your stuff. You sound like a 65-year-old Fox News boomer's idea of what the left is. Are you a CIA agent?
I think, bro, I'm gonna be honest. I think he may be. I think that person absolutely may be, bro. Definitely. Absolutely. Some type of agent, bro. Psyops. So something is going on.
The right is saying to men, you will own a house. You will have beautiful children with your loving wife. You will have privacy. You will have free speech. You will own things, and you will be happy. And the left is like...
They like having all of the stuff they don't deserve.
But don't get me wrong, Republicans will not do...
Bro, I have worked... well, listen, I have worked very hard throughout my life to get where I am exactly today. I would not say that I don't deserve what I've earned. Like in at times hostile, places in terms of, because again, I've been working internationally for the last 2 decades, guys, right? So it's just like, you can't say that I don't. Trust me, I've been places where people did not expect for me to walk in their door. I'm just going to be honest, okay? In a couple of countries, trust me, they did not expect for me, with my resume, to walk into the door. They didn't, and things are interesting. Let's say, right? But I have definitely worked for every single thing that I've achieved. So. What are you talking about?
Do shit. The Republican Party will not do shit. The establishment in general will not do shit to help any of this. But the right is, at least rhetorically, offering men something other than nothing or the eternal HR department. Every time this Discord comes up, there's people like, we need a leftist Andrew Tate. We need masculine role models on the left. But the fact is, it's hard for progressives to organically appeal to men, because a large part of progressivism is oppressive hierarchies, and men are oppressors. Making progressivism look appealing to young men is an uphill battle from the start. And although it's funny to laugh at insane people on Twitter, as always, there have been a lot of left-wing content creators talking about men's issues. If you would have told me this would be a thing 9 years ago, I would not believe you, because anyone talking about men's issues back in the day was called an MRA or a pick-me. But lately I have seen a lot of good pro-men lefty content, and I'll put some links to some below. I don't agree with all the points they say, but I recommend watching. It's much better than...
They like having all of the stuff they don't deserve.
But the issue is a lot of this...
Bro, who is that person?
Lefty pro-men content, it's always framed around, how do we get them? As if men are just pawns and tools for your personal politics.
Well, if we know anything about, very specifically, the Democratic Party, very specifically, they will reach out to groups of people, promise them things, and then never do those things. I mean, the way they treat the quote-unquote black vote in the United States of America should basically explain, right? That should basically explain how they're going to do it and do nothing, right? Guys, listen, if you want to bring men in, fix divorces, right? Fix child support, okay? How about this? When a child is born, there are two things that happen, mandatory. Make a DNA test instantly, because 1 in 3 fathers are not the fathers of the kid, right? Let's just do that, right? And then also make it so by birth both parents are 50-50, period. Do that, and I'm almost positive if you can promise that and do that, right? I think men will come around. To be honest, they will be less likely to fear the absolute craziness that happens when you do encounter a woman and she no longer likes you. Okay, just gonna be honest.
How do we make the left more appealing to men? How do we stop lonely men from moving to Andrew Tate? Instead of just, how do we help men? And I think that's a really big issue. Both sides seem to treat men as political fodder. Disposable soldiers in the culture war and real war. Anyway, misandry is real. Oh good, finally! And while it doesn't systemically affect cis men, it most certainly affects trans men. Oh. Y'all talking about misandry doesn't harm men, and trans men are right there reading this shit, by the way. I see, now we only care about misandry because it affects trans men. Everyone stop! It's affecting a group I care about now. I love how the rhetoric just evolved overnight, from male tears to cis male tears. And I just have to ask, why aren't you including trans men in your misandry,
Nobody told me how lonely.
This is a trans man, yes?
Being a man is... We knew what depth felt like before we transitioned. We knew what it felt like to have people want to hug us, and to have people want to talk to us, and to have a community.
Yeah, but see, this is not... I mean, I get it, right? But I guess that this person is talking about this after they have transitioned into a man, right? But all of what's happening on our screen right now is it doesn't feel like I'm talking to my brother, if that makes any sense. There's something different based off of how, this person is displaying these themselves.
And then you transition and you're just a guy walking down the street that people cross the street so that they're not near you. And friendships are so much harder to build. What's hard is none of this invalidates how real and raw women and people who are in marginalized groups feel about cis white men. All of that's valid. But I also now understand why the suicide rate is so much higher in men.
Welcome to being a man. Here's your complimentary isolation and yellow pillow. I love how even when he's experiencing the issues of being a man, he's like, this doesn't invalidate people hating men. Come on, bro. Men struggling don't want to be lectured about the patriarchy. They don't want to be told it's all their fault. They don't want...
Because it's probably not, guys, it's not their fault. Again, absolutely tiny minority of men are running things. And then for some reason, all men are to blame. Even the men who literally are sitting, honestly, in isolation in their households. That's what they're doing. They're not doing anything but sitting on YouTube, watching things, going to work, saving money. That's basically what they're doing, right? That's all they're doing with their life. Trust me, guys. They're not out here trying to diminish the rights of women. They're not. They're not. They have no power to do so, right? You're referring to, again, the small minority of men generally who run the politicians.
I want to be told they're part of the problem because, first of all, they're not. The average 20-year-old didn't build society. They go to work, come home, off to sissy hypno fetish porn, and go to bed like everyone else. I've talked about this before, but
what does she? Never mind.
A lot of men's value comes from the money they make, unfortunately. Men are natural providers, and if they have nobody to provide for, they get into findom or send random girls on the internet money. I'm just kidding, but the fact is, a lot of men simply feel like they don't have a purpose anymore.
Bro, the English language has changed so drastically within the last, I don't know, decade. I don't think I understand English the same way. A lot of the words that she's using are just going over my head, guys.
Whether a job or a career that's fulfilling and pays well, or a woman or family to protect and take care of and provide for, men are lacking purpose. And a man will crawl through broken glass for a purpose. But you know who does make them feel like they have a purpose? No, not him.
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you.
The absolute audacity to act shocked that Andrew Tate is scooping these guys up after a decade of lol male tears is insane. Andrew Tate isn't the solution to men's problems, but he is talking to them. The fact is, you did not care about them for years. And even now you just want to recruit them, not help them. And that's why you will fail. And hey, maybe I'll be the Andrew Tate of the left. Men,
you won't be.
Men, listen up. Wash your penis. So I guess I'll leave you guys with a question. Why do you think male loneliness has been increasing? What are your solutions for this problem?
Literally, there unfortunately are no solutions at all. Not the way we're moving this country, this failing, unfortunately, this failing country that we are in, guys. I don't know why we are no longer number one in anything since like the 60s, guys. I wonder what happened during that time. Right, a lot of things, are the cause of a lot of these things, guys. Right. The only thing I can say, guys, is that don't worry, guys. There are still traditionally feminine women that are completely fine to marry, guys. They're just probably not going to be in any big city, right? You want to stay away from big cities, maybe small towns or kind of where you want to go, right? Maybe middle America potentially, but just stay away from all of these big cities. Stay away from them. If you are destined to specifically marry, look for an American woman that is, marriage material, let's say, guys, right? It's going to be the middle America, guys. It's not going to be in any of the cities. It's not going to be on any of the coasts. Stay away from Miami. Stay away from New York. Stay away from LA. Stay away from these places. Absolutely. If you're looking to actually find someone that, that's probably not going to divorce you within, probably a year or so and take half your money, type of thing. Or again, just marry someone that's not from America. Like specifically, stay away from the UK, stay away from Australia, Israel, and basically anywhere else but the United States, the UK, Israel, or Australia. Basically anywhere else. Anywhere else. Okay, that's my only thing that I tell my sons the same thing. Is you're not doing that. We're not doing that. No. But all right, listen, that my overall opinion, obviously, guys. I was a passport bro apparently before I even knew passport bros exist, right? I guess it made sense when, like, I would encounter more Americans. Like whenever I was to see like relationships outside of like in any of my travels, I would always see American men, guys, right? American men with like local women almost everywhere I've gone. So, guys, this isn't new. It's new information for like the masses, I'm sure, but like there are still traditional women left, right? And if that's what you're holding out for, in a sense, because you see all this stuff on social media that's making you absolutely outraged, and you're just like, yeah, that's not for me, right? And then you become insular because you're like, obviously all the women that are surrounding me are like this, so why would I even bother, right? Again, there are women outside of the United States of America that may suit your fancy slightly better, guys. But listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day and enjoy your day thoroughly.